seeing the woods through the trees. So how does this apply to day-to-day life? Well, it applies in every part of life, really. It's a matter of inclusion and exclusion with what we think, what we feel, how we view things, other people, societies, anything really. I mean, take the MBTI aside, we all have perceiving functions. We do it every single day. We're taking in information, whether it be when I'm talking, you're processing that in your brain, or when we're not thinking, when we're just daydreaming, that our skin and nervous system is still interpreting that information. And there is more information being sent from the body to the brain than there is to the brain to the body. It would be quite overwhelming for the cognitive side of the brain to have to deal with all the subconscious or autonomic nervous systems of the body. It would have a nervous breakdown, and then it would have to actually work out how to have a nervous breakdown whilst having a nervous breakdown. It's too much. So there are some things that we include and some things that we exclude as a way of functioning, as a way of perceiving the world. There are many frequencies in this forest that I'm completely unaware of. Many light frequencies, for example, like a bird will see many different colors, many different light frequencies to a human eye. So its perception of the world is different to mine. Doesn't make it better, doesn't make it worse, it's just a different perception. If I had to take in every single frequency, including the radio frequencies that are happening right now, everything. I mean, if you want to have a little Superman moment of that movie where it's like, it takes off the headphones, it's just like so much to perceive. Kind of like that. If I had to do that every single day, it would be quite overwhelming. So there are some things that I need to exclude and some things I need to include. I'm not saying that I'm Superman, it's just as a human being, there are certain things that I'm unaware of, and there is awareness and unawareness. Same with light frequencies, whether we're conscious of this or not. So there's different things that are a benefit to not seeing the woods through the trees or the trees through the woods, depending on how you perceive things. There are disadvantages, of course. Say, for example, this is actually a good example, that tree that you're seeing before you, hopefully. Now, I could ask you, do you know everything about that tree? You've seen it from top to bottom and bottom to top. Now, do you know everything about that tree? But all you're seeing of that tree is from your point of view. You're not seeing it from a 360 point of view. Bring her in the Rosie. We're only seeing it from a two-dimensional point of view, that tree. So it's hard to see the entirety of something whilst only seeing one side of something all the time. It's a matter of inclusion and exclusion when it comes to knowledge, when it comes to experiencing something. Like I'm reminded of, I think, therefore I am. That's the saying. It's kind of plays upon that, like how you think influences how you feel, which is only one side of the coin. It's only one side of the tree. Yes, how you think is how you feel. You can influence your feeling state by your thoughts. You can say a lot of affirmations. You can, in Soma Breath, that's what we do. We set an intention and we charge up that intention and then we release it. So you're embodying that belief that whatever you want to achieve, you're embodying that. By changing your thought state, you're changing your feeling state. But if you're feeling like crap and you're feeling depressed, then your thoughts aren't actually going to be that positive. That's why we need to do affirmations. But also the feeling state operates the thought state. So if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling angry, and that this is going to influence your thoughts. And sometimes these overwhelming feelings will override the cognitive state. The amygdala, which is what we focus on with EFT, interrupting that signal, will actually fire up your reptilian part of your brain, your most primitive part of your brain. Keep in mind that the cognitive brain was only the last part in the evolution of our human mind, the thing that to make sense of the world. But that reptilian brain will overwhelm the cognitive brain. Prime example is your road rage examples. He's lost his mind, he's flipped his lid, because the primal part of your brain, you think of that as your brain, that is your reptilian part of the brain. When that fires, that all goes offline. So how you're thinking then is not going to influence your feeling, because your feeling is overwhelming your thinking. It's only when you can be in a calmer state, when all those emotions have subsided, that you can then start to influence your thinking, feeling state. So there is no one rule, there is no one side of the tree, there's no one side of the coin that says that I think therefore I am. Because also your emotions constitute who you are. Your experiences, that's what constitutes what's called an ego, and not in a negative sense, just the I, the self. And you can change a lot of the self through thinking, feeling, and sometimes a lot of, like say with trauma therapy, it's not like your CBT based sit there, have a chat sort of thing. It's there's a little of that. It's more getting into the body. It's more feeling into the body, which will actually help change. It's more bottom up than top down. So, hey, seeing the woods through the trees, where it gets negative, like I was trying not to go into the medical field to use an example, but it's the only example I can come up with. Maybe I'll come up with others as I talk. Sometimes within the medical field, they are focused more on the tree rather than the woods. They have, and I don't want to make a blanket all statement. I know that there are shifts, there's changes, there's different perceptions of things, so this is not a blanket all statement, but definitely from what I've experienced and what I've seen, and even through my work, there is a tree perspective to the world rather than a woods perspective to the world. Now, to demystify in a way, a person leaves high school, they want to become something, whether it's a doctor, whether it's physiotherapist, whatever it is, and they have a calling towards something, or there's certain money aspects in certain things that they're drawn towards doing something, or they just want to help people. And then they do study, they become qualified, they do a lot of memory retention to retain a lot of their study. There's practical, they have to do practical to actually apply what they've learnt, and then they're out in the woods, I guess. And then they start focusing on the trees. There's a reductionist model that they follow, which reduces things to parts. There are specialists in things. There's ear specialists, there's heart specialists, there's foot specialists, there's all these different specialists specializing in their part of the woods, the tree that they're looking at. Now, when you demystify it like that, it becomes a bit more simplified, because you're just dealing with a person that has a set skill. It's kind of like a mechanic sort of thing. It's specialized in dealing with a car, the health of your car. It doesn't make them godlike or anything like that. That's what they're dealing with. What you have learnt within a training sort of a system, within a university, within one single course, there is something always beyond what we know. There's many things that I don't know that are beyond my understanding, beyond my set of knowledge. Science just means knowledge, the Latin root of it. If a person presents with a certain issue that is beyond what we have included within our knowledge, is in the exclusion zone, that means that tree might be sitting in the exclusion zone, or the answer to that person's problems might be in that exclusion zone. But if we stay insular within the inclusion zone of only what we know, then the health benefit for that person always stays in the exclusion zone. And sometimes these things, like say with trauma treatments and that, it's had all the research, it's done all the tests that is required. It just needs to be included within a set of knowledge. But if we continue to exclude things, and if a person is continually presenting, then the answer might actually be in the exclusion zone, what we're actually excluding from our set of knowledge. And sometimes that comes down to fear of the unknown, having to be bothered, laziness, and just a willingness to try. But keep in mind that it's also the health of the person, and even something like a placebo sort of thing, like people put crap on placebos, but there's even studies where people have placebos and there's actually an increased health benefit, even though they're taking, whether it's a sugar pill or not, the body's capacity to believe that they're healing actually does start to work, until they let them know that no, you've got the placebo, you haven't actually got the tablet, that it's actually going to start suppressing things for a limited time only. So the body's capacity to believe within itself, to change its thought state, to change its feeling state, to feel actually healthier, can actually start to change things. There's some studies where the placebo started to outdo the actual medication treatment sort of thing. It's the body's capacity to heal. But whether you'll find that in a book of what you've been trained in, or whatever it is that what you're actually believing in, may be in that exclusion zone. And it's like, well, I don't want to believe in that because I need someone qualified to tell me that that is actually true. But that qualified person is only once again going to go within the inclusion of what they know. So it's like me once again having to do something that is beyond my understanding and just poo-pooing it sort of thing, because I don't actually understand it. So it's better for me to put it down than to actually include it within my knowledge. And as I've said, even for my own health treatment, is that it takes many tools to build a house. Like Soma breath, Wim Hof, TRE, EFT, all these sorts of things. There has not been one single treatment. There's not been one pill that cures all sort of thing, because your body is a complex thing. There is many things that it'll include and exclude, that this one size fits all mentality just doesn't cater for. So sometimes it is going beyond what you actually know. Before I had all my trauma stuff and that, I was well within that mindset of medication. Follow doctors' mantras sort of thing. It's like they know best. But once again, what they know is only what they've been taught. And this is not, once again, a beat up on the medical system. It's an awareness that they can only do what they can do because that's what they're being trained in. That's what I'm trying to say. I can only do EFT. I can't do anything else beyond EFT that is not related to me. Only Soma breath at the moment. I can't go into acceptance and commitment therapy because I'm not trained in acceptance. I'm not a psychologist, once again. So what we're including and what we're excluding, that set of knowledge, that set of experiences can be helpful to others. It's just we need to be able to step beyond our own selves, to step within probably sometimes what is within our skill set, what is within our training. It's just we need to put aside our own selves for the sake of others, to be able to help others, to be able, and I'm not saying like our own health to put that aside, but our own set of belief systems to be able to help someone. So therefore, if you're including a little bit more that was from the exclusion zone, you're expanding your knowledge. And if you put it in a very simple metaphor, you might have never have liked sushi, for example. You might have always hated sushi. I know this is a weird metaphor, but you could always put sushi in the exclusion zone. Okay, that's raw fish, ugh, crap. Until one day it's like you pick it up and taste it and it's like, next thing you're eating sushi. Or you could be one of those people that's like, oh, the cool people are all eating sushi, so think, I'll eat sushi. It's like, I kind of don't like it, but I'm kind of eating it. And over time you develop a habit for it and you kind of like it. And now sushi is part of your diet. And that can be the same with knowledge. So including and excluding, seeing the woods through the trees, knowing that it's all just the same at the end. It's kind of like the those where you see the vase and the face sort of thing. You need to be able to transition between the two. It's hard to see both at the same time, but seeing the woods through the trees and the trees through the woods, not seeing how you think is how you feel, but also knowing that how you feel is how you think. So being able to have the ability to transition and not be stuck within a mindset of this way or that way, because sometimes that way is this way and this way is that way, and whatever way works for the person is better for the person, not for our own selves. So I'm Dean from Inflation Support Services, and I'll catch you in the next chat. Bye for now.